Table tennis. It's played on a table that's not even 3 meters long and 1.5 meters wide, with two players just hitting a small plastic ball back and forth. For people who haven't played the sport or just play it for fun, it doesn't seem all that impressive at first glance. You might think it lacks the impact that larger sports have, like soccer, volleyball, and basketball. However, the amount of things that happen on that small table within milliseconds is astonishing. Let's take a closer look at what NASA has deemed as the most complex and complicated sport in the world. First, to play table tennis at the highest level, you need to have superhuman reflexes. During rallies, the ball can easily reach speeds exceeding 60 miles per hour, or almost 100 kilometers per hour. Meaning, pro players often have less than 1/10 of a second to react to each shot, and then plan the trajectory of their own shot. Let's take a look at this rally to understand how fast table tennis actually is. Crazy, right? Now, let's try to break down what actually happens during those milliseconds of shots being exchanged. Take a look at this next clip showing Fan Zhendong's signature backhand counter shot. Now, that is insane. Let's rewind and slow it down to really process how Fan Zhendong managed to win that rally. The opponent serves. Fan decides to play an offensive backhand shot. Here, Fan has around 1/10 of a second to react to this shot. Not only did he react accurately, he also decided to intentionally alter the shot course and hit a devious straight shot down the line to win the point. This cross to straight backhand kill shot has become one of Fan's most iconic shots and is an excellent example of how lightning-fast reflexes and split-second decision-making is crucial at the top level of the sport. The second thing that makes table tennis so complex is that it has a lot of different spins and variations. There are 3 main types of spins in table tennis: top spin, under spin, and side spin. First, top spin. Top spin happens when the ball is spinning forward in the direction of travel. This is the spin that gives birth to the speed and power of the game. Those lightning-fast shots and impressive long rallies played far away from the table are able to happen because of the player's mastery of top spin. 90% of points are won through top spin shots because the speed it provides, coupled with precise and smart shot placement, is the most powerful formula for outmaneuvering your opponent and hitting a kill shot. The second type of spin is called underspin or backspin. Backspin happens when the ball is spinning backward against the direction of travel. Shots played with backspin, being slower and more floaty, are more defensive in nature. Often, rallies begin with backspin shots called chops, where players focus more on control and try to set up an attack. Then, at the right time, a player can choose to counter the backspin with a top spin loop. Then the rally gets played in top spin. The third type of spin is called side spin. This is the trickiest kind of spin, which happens when the ball spins around its vertical axis, sort of like a Beyblade. In pro table tennis, side spin rarely occurs alone. Instead, players often incorporate side spin with top spin or backspin to create openings and win points. Zhu Jin, the former world #1 from China, is a player famously known for his brilliant use of side spin to win points unexpectedly. Because side spin is used so often, players must constantly make split-second analysis of the opponent's racket angle and wrist motion to determine the spin direction and choose the correct return option. Misreading side spin is fatal, especially at the highest level. Next, let's talk about serves. In table tennis, the battle begins at the serve. With all the different spin variations, table tennis is the only sport where players have so many different options for serving. In badminton, players only have the option between the low serve and the flick serve. Volleyball has slightly more variation, where players can do a normal overhead serve, underhand serve, float serve, and the most powerful jump serve. In table tennis, however, There are easily more than 30 different serves that can be used. For instance, one can choose to use a basic backspin serve by chopping the ball downwards. The most famous backspin serve is arguably Malin's Ghost Serve, which had a frightening amount of backspin. You can then add sidespin to the serve to create a backspin-sidespin hybrid serve. Same with top spin. Many pro players like using sidespin in their serves to confuse their opponent and create openings to attack. Some examples of side-spin hybrid serves include the pendulum serve, the reverse pendulum serve, the tomahawk serve, the reverse tomahawk serve, and the hook serve, just to name a few. Top spin serves can also be lethal when used at the right time to catch the opponent off guard. Here's an example. Boom. Completely stranded. But it doesn't just stop here. Pro players also spend hours upon hours practicing their serving movement, not just to practice how to contact the ball, but also to mask the actual spin of the serve such that it's harder for the opponent to read. Adam Bobro's snake serve is an example of a simple-looking yet deceptive serve. The way he chops the ball downwards makes it look like a powerful backspin serve. However, in reality, he throws the ball up really high and just lets the ball hit his racket, which he places at a 45-degree angle. This contact gives the ball a significant amount of top spin. Here, at the point of contact, the ball is given top spin. Then, right after the contact, he does an after motion where he swings his racket downwards to mimic the action of a backspin serve. The main reason why his serve works is because there is virtually no delay between the contact and his after motion. So, in his opponent's eyes, it just looks like a backspin serve, resulting in them completely misreading the serve. He even managed to fool Timo Boll, who is considered a legend in pro table tennis. In the pro scene, similar practices are not only commonplace, but also much more delicate and subtle. How high the ball is tossed is also used purposefully for the same reason. The coolest part about serving in table tennis is that you are free to create your own serve. Players are constantly finding new ways to utilize or camouflage spin in unexpected ways to throw opponents off. Alexis Lebrun, a young rising star from France, recently created a new serve called the lollipop serve and managed to win points off Ma Long, the undisputed GOAT of his era. Now, I want you guys to take a look at this next one. Alexis uses seemingly the same serving motion, but a completely different serve. Let's rewind that real quick to really process what happened. So here, he uses the exact same serving action, but right before he hit the ball, he sneakily changed the contact point and speed at the last second and sent the ball down the line with crazy fast top spin, leaving even Ma Long stunned. This really shows just how important serving is in table tennis. Utilizing quality serves that the opponent struggles to read is half the battle won. Thus, players often change and switch between different serve variations during the game to throw their opponent off and set up follow-up attacks. The third reason for why table tennis is so complex has to do with different playing styles. With so many spin variations and shot options, it is of no surprise that there are varying playing styles for the sport. The biggest category is the offensive play style used by most players, relying on fast and powerful top spin shots to win points. There also exists a defensive play style, where players use defensive slices and chops to slow down rallies, control the pace, and tire their opponents out. Next, although this isn't a play style, I want to talk about left-handed players. Table tennis is the sport where left-handers arguably have the biggest advantage. This is because the spin that they generate are all the opposite. Since most players are right-handed and are used to the spin pattern generated from same-handed players that they play against more often, right-handed players will find it difficult to play left-handed players due to the opposite spin, resulting in a higher chance of misreading the spin. This is one reason why I find players like Ma Long, who had been at the pinnacle of the sport for a long period of time, so impressive. He not only possesses his own lethal skill set, but also has the ability to quickly and accurately adapt to different playstyles and spin patterns to emerge victorious. In fact, he was so dominant that Japanese media decided to give him the title of the Hexagon Warrior, meaning he had maxed out stats in all 6 key table tennis attributes. If this isn't aura, I don't know what is. Lastly, table tennis requires a much higher level of athleticism than what most people might think. First, footwork. Top players need elite footwork, covering short distances with explosive bursts in every direction. Table tennis requires a blend of microsteps, lunges, and pivots at extreme speed. This demands leg strength, balance, and coordination similar to martial arts or fencing. Next is physical endurance. Matches at the highest level can last over an hour, with rallies containing dozens of high-intensity strokes. The sport demands anaerobic explosive bursts, as well as aerobic endurance, especially for matches that go to Game 7. It has been recorded that heart rates during competition can spike as high as in long-distance running or basketball. Lastly, full-body strength and flexibility. Don't be fooled by how small and light the ball is. Shots at the top level involve generating incredible rotational force from the legs, hips, and core. I've always been amazed at how top players possess the flexibility to twist their torso and get in a good position to hit powerful shots. Recreational table tennis seems approachable, and you might feel that anyone can pick up the sport. Pick up. Sure, but to really get good, that's a different story. Table tennis is the sport where the gap between amateur and professional players is the biggest. It's only played on a 9 by 5 feet table, but table tennis is so much bigger than that. At the top level of the sport, table tennis combines superhuman reflexes that pushes biological human limits.
Beautiful rally and an excellent finish from Fan Zhendong.
A vast repertoire of spins and shot variations that demands extraordinary mental sharpness and adaptability. As well as exceptional athleticism in the form of power, balance, explosiveness, and endurance.
This is absolute insanity.
Into one fast-paced, exhilarating, yet intricate sport. Frankly, I don't give a fuck what you all think. Table tennis is the most complex sport in the world. For those of y'all that reached the end, I just want to say thank you so much. It really means a lot. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and do let me know down in the comments what other sports you want me to cover. See you guys in the next.